Well folks, I'm back at Cabot Circus again for another double feature of real features, and today I'm watching Laggies starring Sam Rockwell, Keira Knightley and the ever-talented Chloe Grace Moretz. It's being referred to as Say When in the UK, and I really don't understand the reasons for doing that, but I can probably surmise that it's for stupid reasons. I'll just leave it at that. Basically, Keira plays a woman that's not really done anything the 11 years of her life since graduating from high school, and she ends up living in with Chloe's character just to sort of get away from her life, and she sort of kind of rediscovers herself. I think that's the synopsis that I've read from IMDb. 90-minute movie, and weirdest thing, on Wikipedia, this movie only had a budget of $1.5 million, which even most comedies today have a little bit more than that, but it's quality, not the quantity. So 90 minutes, I'll let you know if this is a good one. And also, Chloe Grace Moretz is up for the People's Choice Awards for Best Dramatic Actress. Vote her, people. You know it's the right thing to do. Catch you in 90 minutes. Okay folks, that was Laggies, Say When in the UK. What are my initial thoughts? Well, I'll give you the abridged version before I go into my summarization. It's a decent movie. Right, now into the story. The jokes are well written, it's adult where it needs to be, but at the same time it doesn't try to stray too far into unnecessary territory where the jokes might get a little bit too coarse and a bit, too crude and whatnot. I felt there was decent chemistry between Sam Rockwell and Keira Knightley, and then Keira Knightley and Chloe Moretz specifically, as the two are practically like best buddies, besties, BFFs. It's like almost like a cool elder sister with the cool younger sister. It's got that kind of dynamic, and there's also that diverse dynamic between her and Sam Rockwell. And I don't think Sam was used enough in this movie, considering the caliber of this, the actor this has, from the moon landing and Iron Man 2 playing Justin Hammer, which I thought he was amazing, and I think he did just as an amazing job as Robert Downey Jr. did as Tony Stark, but that's semantics and we're getting off on the subject. Mark Webber as Anthony, he really sells the role of being this really clingy and smarmy, creepy persona that, you just dislike the guy. You can sort of see his intentions, but it's just the way he does it. It just comes across as, ugh. Really like the way that Keira Knightley sold her American accent, and should be noted, this is the first Keira Knightley movie I've seen since Pirates of the Caribbean 3. So we're talking a good long-ass time ago, which I think was about 7 years ago, which I saw at a midnight screening over at Warner Village, which is now The View in Cribbs Causeway. Why did I have to change the name of that? It doesn't make any sense to me. Warner Village just has more pizzazz, but again, getting off the subject, score is decent, really makes it feel tender, romantic, and very playful and fun when it needs to be. And it's kind of a nice resolution where the themes are, defeating procrastination and no longer putting off the things that you want to get done, rather than just making up excuses for reasons that you don't need to. And I like the theme of honesty, where the truth does set people free in this, and I like the way that some people might hate you for it, but at the same time, it's just like, you got to be true to yourself. You got to be able to do what's best for you and not what other people want you to do purposely for their benefit. So I did like the theme of that in that movie, and I really hope they do more movies between the three leading principal actors, with Keira, Sam, and Chloe. I mean, Chloe, for the little amount of time that she was in the movie, she helped turn it from grade awesome to grade A awesome. In fact, that's what I'm going to rename a must to. This movie is not a must. This is grade A awesome. And just as a reminder, folks, Chloe's up for the award for Best Dramatic Actress for the People's Choice Awards 2015. Seriously, go and vote for her. There is no other actress like her in this world at the moment, and that's the honest truth. She just keeps getting better with each movie, and Keira improved miles and miles in this movie, so I'm hoping her career takes off. And this movie was only $1.5 million for a budget, and it's better than most movies that are out there at the moment. It just proves that money isn't everything. Alright, until the next movie, MJ Knight, signing off. Well guys, welcome to another countdown to Christmas 2014. And today we're going to be looking at X-Men Days of Future Past. Now, it's worth noting that this movie has come about to retcon what had happened from X-Men 1 all the way up to Wolverine, because apparently some people were so dissatisfied with what happened with X-Men Origins Wolverine and X-Men 3. Now, personally, I actually liked X-Men 3, but that's just my opinion. We'll get into the writing. The story is basically set in 2023, so basically 9 years from now, and the machines that Dr. Bolivar Trask had developed to actually wipe out mutants have basically targeted the mutant gene that's actually dormant in humans, so it's actually wiping out not only mutants but humans that have the gene, and they're actually also targeting humans that are helping the mutants. So danged if you do, danged if you don't. And I like the fact that Wolverine in this movie is essentially almost like the level-headed straight man leader, in the sense of, whereas before he was the antagonistic protagonist, if you can make sense of that, this one, because he's seen everything as unfolded before his eyes, he is the one to go into the past to actually help James McAvoy's younger Professor Charles Xavier and Michael Fassbender's younger Eric Lyncher. Bringing in Sir Patrick Stewart and Sir Ian McKellen as the future Charles Xavier and Eric Lyncher respectively, the two of them almost are essentially reconciliating their differences with one another, and they just want to put an end to this war that's basically wiping out all sentient life on Earth as we know it. I like the fact that it actually sends Wolverine back to the past, representing the modern X-Men, in order to work with the X-Men First Class cast of characters in order to reset the future. It's in a similar vein to the set of rules you establish in time travel, as was done in the Back to the Future trilogy. Every single choice you make, if you go into the past, no matter how small and insignificant, has a major implication on what you do in the future, or for someone else's future, even though you are not in any way connected with them. You go, instead of taking a left turn that could lead you to a dead end, you make a right turn and you go down to something that's a little bit more prosperous. Therefore, when you come back to the present timeline, you'll remember everything, but the people that were already in the reality timeline, if you will, that no longer exists. They're in a separate timeline that you've corrected. Although the very notion of the idea of Wolverine trying to be Michael J. Fox and Marty McFly, I mean, Marty McLogan. Oh, Doug, that's heavy. I can just imagine that now. Marty McHogan. Marty McLogan. Oh no, not Marty McHogan. That'll give Oni nightmares. Just the idea of Hulk Hogan trying to go on a hoverboard. Oh dear. But let's get into cast. Hugh Jackman is first class all the way, no pun intended. He just slips back into the role of Logan and Wolverine like it was yesterday. And considering this is, what, the 5th or 6th time he's actually played Wolverine, he just gets better with each movie that he plays the Renegade X-Men, if you will. James McAvoy as the young Charles Xavier, I felt he had improved so much upon his last performance, and it's nice to see Charles Xavier from a position and perspective where the man is broken from everything that had occurred, from X-Men First Class to losing the ability to walk, to losing Raven, and just seeing everything that he was trying to build come crashing down. And it's this, and of all the people, it's Wolverine that provides the link to the modern Charles Xavier to actually say, stop that. You know, pick yourself up, get it done. Patrick Stewart as Charles Xavier, respectively, you know, the man pulled out a solid performance for the little amount of time that he was there for, but in retrospect, it's meant to deal with the First Class X-Men as opposed to the modern X-Men. And in the same respect, I like the way that Michael Fassbender improved upon his performance as Eric Lensher, Magneto, where the man still has a lot of vengeance on his mind and plays his usual parlor deception tricks to actually be able to try and get what he wants. And he still has the agenda in the 1970s where, you know, he just hates everything human. He wants mutant kind to be the establishing dominant foothold on the face of the earth. Whereas in the future, and I can see into the future, we're the future, Charles, not them. In the future, he's reconciled with Charles to the point it's like, you know, we don't want this war. You know, it's like, I want my kind to be able to dominate in the world, but I don't want them to be extinguished just because of one selfish person's actions. Then we come to Jennifer Lawrence as Raven Mystique. Now, a lot of people poo-poo Jennifer's acting credentials. I felt she really conveyed the perspective of somebody who has a lot of vengeance on their mind, but at the same time, they're not completely lost within the vengeful mind state. You can see in Jennifer's eyes the way that she's so conflicted when she could pull the trigger on Trask right in front of her to be able to satisfy what she's going after, but then there's that sensible voice of reason, literally in the head, from Charles to say, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I will tell you this. You pull that trigger, it's game over for everyone, and I know this is not you. I was pleased to see the likes of Anna Paquin, Ellen Page, and Halle Berry return, but I would have preferred to see them in a much more used capacity compared to what they were used with. But again, I keep in perspective that this is not really their movie. It is their movie, but it's not their movie, if you follow. Visual and special effects, I felt, you know, with each X-Men movie, the visual and specials seem to get more organic and photorealistic looking each time. And I like the fact when they were using news coverage from the 1970s, they were actually able to downgrade the quality back to even before standard definition, and that's not a place anyone wants to go to today. But I like the fact they were able to incorporate that from the times, and the fact there were only 3 TV networks out there at the time, but that's just a sign of the times, a product of the times of the 70s. I thought the score was good. I mean, John Ottoman is a more than competent composer for for any movie studio, and considering he actually worked off the score for Superman Returns that was originally done by Sir John Williams and actually expanded upon that, so that was good. A lot of people have said this is the best X-Men movie ever. I am inclined to agree. It's one of those movies where everything is upscaled. Everything has the ante upped to another level. All the stakes are raised. The dice are being rolled way harder and way faster than before, and everybody pulls together to not only pull out a decent performance, but it's to, from, as I say, from some people's perspective, to undo all the damage that had been done with the previous movies. And I know some people today are still hating on what Brett Ratner did. Keep in perspective, he did not write the script for X-Men 3. You have a problem with that, you tell the writers that. Because at the end of the day, the director can only go with what he's given. Granted, he agrees to it, but he's not the one who writes it. Personally, if X-Men 3 had been directed by Matt Reeves, that would have been a different story, but that's my own personal bias coming through there. So, what am I going to give X-Men, Days of Future Past? Well, folks, like with Laggies, or Say When, earlier today, I'm just going to give this a, simply put, grade A awesome. That is all I can say for it. And in regards for a Christmas rating, 5 Santa Claus. That's all I got for this double feature. I'll be back in 2 weeks with another movie review. Will it be Countdown to Christmas, or will it be another double feature at the flicks? Who knows? But until then, folks, good night from the night.